Labour MP Caroline Flint, the Europe Minister under Gordon Brown, and Alison McGovern, the co-chair of the Labour campaign for the single market, argued over Labour's Brexit bill amendment in which the party demands a bespoke deal with Brussels, where the UK remains closely tied to the EU's single market. Speaking on Channel 4 News, Arch Remainer Alison McGovern claimed there is a missed opportunity, as Labour's latest Brexit strategy is basically the single market. Ms. Flint hit back and said she doesn't not want the same as Ms. McGovern. She said, to be in the EU, to accept the Norway option, is to basically accept a deal that Norway had to do because it couldn't convince its own public to join the EU. So, it is in the single market, and that includes accepting all the rules around freedom of movement, but also on the regulations that the EU sets. It has to take those regulations. It has no say. Channel 4 Brexit News. Caroline Flint said remaining in customs union and single market is not leaving you. Leaving the single market will be absolutely horrific for employment. Alison McGovern. And in the referendum campaign, I'm sure Alison, like myself when we were campaigning for Remain, we made the case that the Norway option was actually the worst option, because you had to accept all the rules and you have no say. Norway is a member of the European Free Trade Association, EFTA, meaning Oslo pays for access to the single market. EFTA includes Norway, Switzerland, Iceland and Liechtenstein. Norway is also a member of the European Economic Area, EEA, which provides the free movements of persons, goods, services and capital within the single market. The former Labour frontbencher hit back at her colleague and said she simply does not want to leave the EU at all. In response, Ms. McGovern said, I'm perfectly happy to look at the way freedom of movement operates. The Labour MP continued to argue that Labour's amendment looks like it describes all of the things she has been calling for. He added, the fact is we had a general election last year where Theresa May set out her version of hard Brexit and she lost seats, she didn't gain them. Ms. Flint brutally hit back and pointed out that Labour lost the election. She added, I think this amendment divides the Labour Party. We could have found common ground around what Keir is trying to do. The EU option does not allow control around freedom of movement. Channel 4 presenter Krishnan Gurumurthy added, isn't it true that Labour's official position is totally incoherent, because you want all the benefits of the single market and the customs union, while saying we are going to end freedom of movement? There is no way that is going to happen. Ms. Flint insisted there must be a compromise between hardline Brexiteers and hardline Remainers, but Ms. McGovern hit back and said, I do think it is right for our country to be part of the European Union. She added, leaving the single market will be absolutely horrific for employment, especially in the north of England. We have to accept that whilst there are things that we must do about immigration in this country, leaving the single market is such a high price to pay. I simply don't think that those people making the magical argument about getting this great bespoke deal. But Ms. Flint blasted, it was a bespoke deal for Norway, a bespoke deal for Switzerland, a bespoke deal for Turkey, and there will be a bespoke deal for the United Kingdom. The Labour divide continues after Shadow Brexit Secretary Keir Starmer said on Wednesday that the party is virtually all united on its latest proposal. On Tuesday, Labour tabled an amendment to the government's EU withdrawal bill calling for full access to the EU's internal market. Mrs May is set to face pressure from pro-Remain MPs next week as the House of Commons debates the amendments to her Brexit bill. Her aim is to get her Brexit legislation through in just 12 hours on June 12.